No? Doing pianos are hysterical. I know, that I heard her. I might feel bad, like, maybe we should just pay for that certificate, not the school pay for it. Is it so weird? For what? Doing pianos? It's $25 and you gotta register, just to make sure your spots are there.
And that's Wednesday night, we're in our hotel.
Yeah, it's not the convention center. It's from 7:15 to 9.
Smell halls, you're gonna smell halls on me all day long.
Well, you sound better than the other.
Oh, you got sick.
Yeah, he got sick and he sounded terrible, but he made it to the band concert.
Kind of sat out in the lobby and listened to it.
I saw you peeking.
I was speaking because I didn't want to.
What time the-
I think
the
they did
band-
really good. I
choir
don't know what
concert
Brandon was
tomorrow?
talking about.
They
For like
did
2
well.
o'clock or something?
One.
Is the superintendent here today?
Yeah,
She's coming. Yes, she is. You mean the
Oh, I bet it's
actual choir, like the choir.
Like,
Saturday choir.
Don't put your
I
head
know
down,
that
be
the, I know
proud.
that the fourth and
You're doing
fifth
a
and
damn good
one
job.
is Friday at one, but that's,
I would.
but that's different than I think you're talking about.
Cracker?
Oh, I want
Say
cracker.
it, it's on the-
Tammy, ready?
Yeah, I think this might have been last Christmas.
Last time.
Call to order the regular meeting of Independent School District 695, which is Minnesota. And can you roll call, please?
Director Karati Simon,
Here.
Director Lappy,
Here.
Director Raha,
Here.
Director Randasada,
Here.
Director Rice,
Here.
and Chair Casey.
Here. Thank you. Seeing nobody for public comment and nobody for recognition of guests and visitors, we will move on to approval of the agenda.
All motion.
Motion by Director Raha,
Support.
support by Director Lappy. Any discussion, additions, subtractions? No further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Reports, Superintendent Perkovich.
Well, I will go ahead and get started with a couple of things. The Comprehensive Achievement and Civic Readiness Committee is still just briefly meeting. If they're not down here in the next couple of minutes, I'll just go over that without them here, but both the principals are upstairs. Couple of just kind of exciting things. We recently received a $56,000 rebate check.
Sweet.
And that is from Minnesota Energy as part of the energy retrofit, particularly, I think, related to the boilers, right, Jordan? Most of that there. So there may be some additional savings along the way, but that's exciting. Noah and I received information today that we wrote a very tiny grant, a $25,000 grant to offset some of the new kitchen equipment. We got that approval today.
Wow.
So I can officially say that I have written and received enough grants to pay for my full salary this year. So I am basically free to you. Look at me, such a giver, right? Such a giver.
Did you hear that?
Other than that, basically the last month and this month, we are doing a lot of different reports. Reports are due to the state, it seems like every 20 minutes at this point. They want every piece of paper, and I don't know exactly what they always do with them, but so we spend a lot of time writing reports. And I've spent a lot of time being the transportation director. That is taking an inordinate amount of time. Every single time that one kid adds or deletes from the system, I would say it's a good 20-minute process because you have to change where a stop is. You have to click their name, take them out of the system, reroute, reprint, notify the drivers, like everything. It is not just this quick little thing. And so, sometimes the parents are like, hey, can we go to mom's on this day and dad's on this day? And they think it's this very easy switch. And we try to accommodate when we can, but sometimes we just don't have the staffing allowable to do that. So that is a little bit challenging, but we're working through some of that process right now. We just had another kiddo add. One kid is adding that needs part day transportation. And so that creates an entire route, 2 hours of a day where somebody has to, by law, leave what they're doing, pick up a kid, bring them home, come back to work for one kid. But that's what Minnesota school systems are required to provide. And so a lot of that is impacting your maintenance staff and your custodial staff because there are midday drivers, which means every time I put them on another drive, it's reducing how much work they can do back on their regular work schedule. So it's something to just be aware of, that we're spread pretty thin right now. We have some absences, we do have an open position, but we are spread pretty thin in those departments right now, so we're working on that. And then, let's see, I think that's probably it, other than the comprehensive achievement and civic readiness report. So I know that we had 2 board members that were up there with us today. How in depth do you want me to go with the board? Do you want me to go over each of the goals?
I don't know that you have to do that. They can read them, they're in the packet.
There
I
are
mean,
goals in there too.
I think they're doing a great job. I mean, they've got some really good goals and I think they're meeting what our expectations are and I
And
think
they're looking at what
Yeah.
we have that we didn't have,
yeah, I think it's.
and they're revamping it to make it more, so we can actually look on paper like we're meeting those goals.
Yeah.
They're
So-
making it more attainable.
In the big picture, we wanted to make sure that we don't just put a goal on a piece of paper and it feels good to have a reading goal or a math goal because we're a school system, right? Most people are like, you need a reading and a math goal. But what we've identified is that our systems right now are creating a little bit of a concern that we can't necessarily get down to this level, this granular level of what's happening in a classroom because of some of our systems aren't ready to go. And so looking at our attendance system, looking at our assessment system, looking at our pre-K and K enrollment systems, looking at things like that so that we can kind of get that bigger picture so that it's easier to just become what we need out of our teachers. Right now, otherwise we just would tell them to do something and they don't have the path to get where that is. So a lot of our goals focused on that. We spent a good deal of time just talking about individual subgroups and individual data points with that, specifically talking about attendance, specifically talking about graduation. So some of the things, for example, you'll hear graduation and you'll hear people come in and talk about our graduation rate. And I wanted to make sure that the team understood there's some silly Minnesota state rules that play into graduation data. So for example, our graduation data last year says that 84.9% of our kids graduated, which at gut instinct is like, what? We're only graduating almost 85%? What's happening to the other 15? But there's 2 things that really impact that data. So we wanted to talk about that. For example, that Bridge to Independence program is a great program that our special needs students attend. When they're 18 to 21, they go into kind of an independent learning after high school. If they go into that program from 18 to 21, the state labels them as a non-graduate. It dings against your graduation grade to send them to the 18 to 21 program. Another big problem that we're seeing is, let's pretend that Jackie went to school here in 9th and 10th grade in the first month of her 11th grade, but then transferred to another district. Went to school for a couple months and dropped out of that district. Just didn't stay with them. Because they were in our district longer, it dings ours. And so it's not where they were last, it's where they were most. And so you really need to understand the data. And until our system understands the data and can put names to different things, that's why we didn't want to go as granular as down to that reading and math. We wanted to make sure that we're looking at it from a system standpoint. So we're really not trying to fix something that's not broken. It's just out of our control. That's my friendly ghost that's here.
Hopefully it doesn't blow up.
2 months, that's all we gotta make it.
Right.
So we set some goals, so the goals that you'll see in there, you'll see the proposed goals, most of them stayed the same, as related to different activities right now. I believe they are still upstairs wordsmithing the first one. The first goal just didn't land real well with the team. And so the first goal under all students ready for school, they're still up there wordsmithing that. We had talked about doing a kindergarten profile, it just didn't seem to be where the team wanted to go, so they're wordsmithing what that will look like. But we did write a goal on consistent attendance, we wrote a goal on graduation, we wrote a goal on promoting career and college readiness.
Yeah.
Superintendent, consistent attendance, though, we did switch that to pre-K through 12.
Correct.
And then adding the sub of buildings, we're gonna break it down per building so we can still see that, but keeping it school-wide.
District-wide.
Yeah.
And the one that seemed to get the most excitement out of the team was really related to the last one, so I'll spend a little time on that. And that is by the end of this school year, that 50% of our total student body will be documented as having participated in at least one Our Community, Our Future civic engagement or community service activity, ranging from things like kindergartners writing Valentines to senior citizens maybe in the nursing home, to job shadowing or internships at the high school and somewhere in between, because we are seeing that about 30% of the kids feel like they're connected to our community based on a survey that we've given. And we think that number should be significantly higher, and this was a way to start connecting school and community. So you'll be able to see this full report on our website here shortly. You'll also see the PowerPoint that we went over today. If there's any questions, any concerns, just let us know, but kind of excited about where we're going. Any questions on that?
No.
Principal Milani, anything for you?
Very nice.
All right, moving on, Jordan.
Good evening, everyone.
Jordan?
Are you tired, Jordan?
Yeah.
Not getting much sleep, are you?
I'm always.
Oh my, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I gotta apologize, I missed the board meeting last night. Be selfish.
That's,
As you should be.
As you should be.
So I'm giving you the same
Right
handout
on
that
time.
Lisa already has.
That's unusual. They're not different.
So on the overall update for tonight, I think we'll just start with the budget summary. You guys all had that, kind of had a chance to look at it. What I did was I went and I highlighted kind of the big swing balances that are left in the budget. But I'll start at the top here with all the funding. Not a lot of the funding has really changed in the last couple months. I think the last thing was some kitchen equipment funding that we had talked about. We were confident could slide over. I'm not reflecting those grants that Lisa's talking about yet or anything like that. But so I just have those updated with cost to date. I had pay apps that I'm working on, so there should be a pay app, another run of pay apps coming in another day or two here when I get those sent over. So, you know, this is good today, but it'll be wrong tomorrow. So costs on our fees are all up to date. General conditions, $229,000. I know there's more costs coming there. It's kind of typical at the end of the project for a lot of things to hit. We'll have some things like temp heat. We had to bring in temp heat again. That's a seasonal rate, stuff like that. So I mean, I still anticipate more costs there without a doubt. At the same time, I think we've spent a quarter of it, so there's a pretty healthy amount of dollars there. That's going to be kind of what we had talked about in some of the prior meetings, is that's when we're ready to cut that loose. We have levers to pull to spend that money, but at this time, I'm still going to say we're not cutting any of it loose, and we're going to continue to hold on to it until we're ready to pull levers with whatever we decide to spend that money on. But it is a healthy budget, and we're going to look to maintain it as much as we can. Furniture, fixtures, equipment, technology, just updated cost to date from there. I'm sure we'll be getting some large invoices when furniture comes. I know Lisa, you mentioned it to me, when were we talking for delivery from Innovative?
Sounds like the week of January 9th.
Nice, okay. So we'll see a big increase in cost there, but just know that that's all stuff that's been ordered and that we're anticipating. Then playground two, I don't know if we've seen any invoice other than the initial one yet. Have you seen anything, Noah?
I don't think so.
I mean, obviously, that's all I'm tracking right now, but there's gonna be something there as well, because the playground's essentially done at this point, so I'm surprised we don't have more costs there yet. On the construction costs, when you look at the building addition and renovation work, we're looking at $24 million of a $28 million project. We're getting down there. We're getting close to the end, without a doubt. Have to remember too that approximately 5% of that whole balance is just retainage that we hold on contractors. So really, when you're talking percent complete, we are getting very close. I took a look at the contingency and the contingency spent. Those numbers look good to me. So if you guys remember back to the original first meetings we had about this budget, 5% is about what you hold for contingency. Some of the newer building type stuff shouldn't be 5%. Some of the renovations can get more than 5%. So I said, we're at a point here where we're pretty far along. Of the 913,000 in change orders that we've spent, some are contingency. That also includes some of the upgrades that we did to the band room and stuff like that. So some are code required, some were just things that made sense to do at the time. That's 3.3%. So to be under 5% on a mix of new and old, I think contingency is tracking right where it should be. So that's, the financials tell a story, and it says that this project hasn't been overly change ordered by any means, but at the same time, we've spent dollars on the appropriate things at the appropriate times to upgrade them. So we're definitely getting towards the end of construction. We've been tracking costs for the control work that was done and the pool work that was done, so I haven't updated anything there. All I have for invoices for the Apex Control project is $604,163, so I haven't seen anything new for there for a while. And then we just had some asbestos abatement invoices come through that I took a look at, and they were anticipated, so I've got that updated to $132,000 and some dollars there. So on our overall project progress, I don't know the exact math, but 24 million of the 28 million. I don't know if that's what that equates to, if that's 80%, 80 some odd percent, 90%. But our contingency left, we spent 57%, we're 43% left. We're still healthy there. So that's a number that we're continuing to track. 600, ironically, only a couple thousand off of general conditions, but that's also, again, money set aside that we have left over that we're going to continue to preserve. And if we get to a point where we're comfortable saying we're done with costs, levers can be pulled to spend that on some of the other things. I know we spent a lot of time talking about budget last time I was here. So, and then aside from everything I just talked about, there's still $3.851 million sitting there unallocated. And I know we've had many talks about what that can be used for. We don't need to get into them tonight. Any questions on the overall budget?
Yeah, I know you were shocked. Anyway, on the, the balance on the bottom of the page, I had this, in September, it was 3.1. Now it's 3.8, and I'm trying to find a difference here. Where did we get the extra $700,000?
We increased the interest earnings, project interest earnings.
Oh, yeah.
We had the sales tax reimbursement, the bathroom grant, and then the kitchen equipment funding. So that would explain basically the big ones.
I knew you had an easy answer for me. I just didn't see it. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Technology stuff.
Do you have an update from from us from WIDSEF on a reconfiguration of the audiovisual change order that we're using.
Is that the one that was 98,000? I have that out for pricing. I do not have pricing yet back on that. So that being said, there are change orders out there that we still have to get through. That is one of them. Yeah, when we get that one's gonna have to go to the board for approval.
So some of the things in this particular change order, when they put in the door access over in kind of the new district office area, they didn't really put key fobs or cameras or things that needed to be keyed that way. Those were inadvertently left out. We have some of the office spaces that maybe didn't have enough outlets, or things like that. The huddle camera that goes in the gym was never planned in the wiring. The scoreboard needed an upgraded type of wiring to handle the speakers that are part of it. So there are things in there that weren't in that initial scope, and now I wasn't here during the initial scope. So I don't know, I mean, one side says we talked about it, one side said we didn't talk about it. And so we're expecting to see a rather hefty change order come through.
One thing to add to that too is the fiber line that comes from the DAP closet to the new addition as well. So to Lisa's point, I think all of these are all needs from the district's perspective from what I've been able to see. So we're trying to make sure that as we go through this change order process, we make sure the pricing is accurate and fair. To that point, my number one goal is to make sure that when it comes to change orders, we're not paying for anything twice. It's making sure that it only gets paid for once. So on the change order side, I think for the contractors, the ones asking for this amount of money, it's not in their contract and they shouldn't provide it for free, but at the same time, we need to make sure that they perform the work and get paid for it, and the district ultimately ends up with what they need here. I know it's a tough pill to swallow when the design team doesn't have everything on the drawings that we wanted or that we thought we had. So I know it's a tough pill to swallow, and it's always my same answer, but we need to remember too that this is why we set aside contingency, is because this stuff comes up on every single project. And Bob knows I probably hate change orders more than him, but they're necessary evil.
So just for discussion's sake, the design team that did these rooms, they didn't put this in? They didn't have locks, they didn't have cameras, they didn't have... Because see, this is what, and I get it, Jordan, I get it, but here's what bugs me. And it's 20 years ago, when the design team didn't do something and it cost us a chunk of money that the district had to pay. Thank God we have contingency, but I don't like to see half work. If you're gonna have a room, you gotta have a door, you gotta have a lock, you gotta have this, all of this stuff. So, and I'm not gonna point fingers, I mean, I realize it's a big project and everything, but they're professionals and they should know what we need. So I'm depending on you to strong arm them. And I know you will.
And that was roughly 100,000, roughly?
That's where it started. We sat down, kind of like you said, because I'm not really interested in just passing on a change order saying, there you go, guys, pay it. But we sat down with Lisa and Joe and the contractor and with Seth and made some revisions and have it back out for repricing with the tweaks we talked about to try to get it to the point where it needs to be. So it's not so much negotiating about dollars, it's about making sure that the dollars match what the work is there. And let me be a little bit of a devil's advocate, Bob.
Try.
There's some different faces here with different ideas than people that were in the room when the design was done.
Ah.
So, I agree with you at the same time. Not everything gets relayed to the design team, that we forget about. So again, I have this conversation with every client, but, again, we put the contingency in there because there is going to be misses. But, to your point, we hate misses.
But we have the money to cover it.
Well,
I mean, that's the point.
that's correct, but then also, we're making sure that what we're paying is fair. We're making sure that we're not overpaying and being taken advantage of.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I understand where Director Raha is coming from. In his statement, they should know what we need. They've designed a number of schools already in this area. And for that omittance, to me, is probably inexcusable. But that's a discussion we can have with them and you, later on.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, any other questions for, Jordan?
I did want to touch on construction timelines.
Okay.
So where we're at right now, I know kind of if you guys remember how it's been the whole time, is like we had soil corrections, we had plan review, we're a month behind. We got to the point where we're pretty much on track. I will say that we're probably still a little bit behind. But with the timelines that we've been working through with Lisa, I'm feeling good that we're going to be able to get you guys into the building in that, I believe the early February is where we're shooting for move-in. That being said, there's definitely some challenges. So from my position, I can't perform the work. I'm not the contractor, but we obviously manage the contractors for you. So if a contractor fails, if they don't show up, something like that, that is out of my control. But at the same time, there are things that we can do about it. We do not hold liquidated damages on this project, but we do have the ability to go out and find other contractors to supplement. I haven't had to do that. I don't anticipate doing that at this point. And I also need to be realistic that the time it takes to find another contractor is usually longer than it takes to get the contractor to get the extra 2 days. So that being said, what I'm seeing right now is that probably the second week of January, we want to be doing all the inspections, the mechanical, electrical, the small inspectors. Not necessarily small, but the smaller inspections on the project. And then I want to be doing a occupancy inspection, which that is our finish line inspection in that late January timeline. That being said, one of the biggest challenges ahead of us is the gymnasium itself. All the hoops are in, it's painted, all of that. There is a lot of risk that goes into a gym if it's done out of sequence. So what we have is we have wood athletic flooring that needs to get installed. That takes about 5 weeks from the time they start to the time that it's cured enough to set on.
Mhm.
So then after that, bleachers get installed. Bleachers take a week. Bleachers are pretty simple. You just block out 5 days. They come in, bang them out, and done. That being said, with the wood athletic flooring, those are climate sensitive. So we really have had to watch humidity. We've been monitoring humidity. So we have humidity in the concrete itself that we've been monitoring and had testing on. We have building humidity and then we have building temperature. There are also manufacturer requirements before these floors can be installed. One of the biggest ones is wet work needs to be done, which would be painting, tile, masonry. We have quite a bit of that to go. I think there's 3 solid weeks of that left. That's probably, there could be a little bit more than that. So if we do the math and say 3 weeks out and then we wait to do that gym floor, that gym floor would be the one piece to push us back. Now that being said, I'm not throwing in the towel on it yet. we have some conversations to be having with contractors. But it's not out of question to get you guys into the building, knowing that can't use the gym yet for the next week or two or something like that. So I mean, that's my worst case scenario goal. But at the same time, I just need to be realistic with where we're at. So I don't see any danger of us getting into the building. But,
My entire grand opening is surrounding the idea that we have a double header varsity girls and boys basketball game. I really need that gym done.
yep, we're gonna be in
Who do we
very
need to make
close,
cookies for, is what
we're
we're
gonna be
saying.
in very close contact, as time gets closer. And I understand that entirely, but at the same time, I wouldn't be doing my job if I told you, we'll just install it and get it done so that it can be done for the grand opening, and then the warranty is voided and we have to tear it all out, replace it because you guys directed to have it done. So
So how does that happen, just out of curiosity, when the deadline was supposed to be the end of December, we built ourselves a contingency to put the rooms together? How are we that far behind?
Because of the rocks and the boulders
And the humidity.
and the humidity. Because there was a lot more rocks there than they anticipated.
yeah. Yep, we lost a month in plan review for utility work and even on the soil corrections, that took actually a couple of months. So there's ebbs and flows without a doubt, definitely ebbs and flows. But I'm also not gonna sit here and say that there's not schedule concerns. But at the same time, you know, there's a long ways to go. There's still 2 months before February. So that being said, let us continue working with contractors and continue to fight the path of least resistance. So I wish I was more sunshine and rainbows all the time, but you know. Also, I don't want to lie or mislead you guys in any way.
Anything else, Jordan?
That's all I have.
Directors, anything more for Jordan? Thank you.
Are you looking
Thanks,
for
Jordan.
less humidity or more humidity?
But
Well, 2 months ago, we were hoping for less, or for more, or sorry, less, now we're hoping for more. There's minimal,
dry
there's a
now.
threshold, it's like
It's too
35 to 75%.
Well, what it's gonna do is it's gonna buckle that wood floor, so it's, I mean,
I'm running into the same.
have you ever
problem.
gone into a
It's
house
too
with
dry.
wood floors when it hasn't been properly heated, or, I mean,
They shrink in the winter when moisture is gone, and then when it heats up and they get more humidity, they expand. So,
So as we're thinking about moving these kiddos over there, that impacts where they can go for recess, that impacts gym times, that impacts a ton of that, so it's not quite as simple as they can get into the classrooms and the gym will be a couple weeks later, it really impacts a lot. So do you have an ETA on when we would know, we just announced which 3 days kids would get off, and I would be more apt to push that back and say we're taking off 3 different days and we'll do a grand opening on a different day than try to open the building and not be ready. So when do you think we would have probably the best idea of when this could happen so that we can communicate with our families accordingly?
I need to have some meetings with contractors, just to be frank first, because they're really the key players that actually make this all happen. Again, me being gone for a couple of weeks didn't help anything, where I'm kind of catching up now. So my goal is to get all the contractors together on Thursday, and I want to get something realistic by the end of the week.
Thank you.
And one other thing too, just because we kind of opened the can of worms, so we need to get the wet work done. At the same time, we also have the HVAC contractor that to start the rooftop units, all the air that comes through, all the return air, all the supply air. They never want to start that until the very end because we want to be sucking dust and debris into the new HVAC system. Well, it happens on every project and it depends on which contractor does what, but the Wood Athletic flooring supplier requires the permanent heat and air to be on. Permanent heat and air contractor requires sanding to be done, which you need to do the wood athletic floor. So it's a catch-22. I run into it on every project I'm at. There's really no way to resolve that. It's just work with the contractors on what's gonna be best for them. So it's not something that we haven't dealt with before. It's just who's gonna commit to what on this one, and that's where I'm supposed to get to that this week. But we're gonna keep going on the wet work and the dust work just to get it done as quick as we can. All right.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Jordan, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you, but it sure, or where there weren't enough roses.
We've been so
But thank
spoiled
you,
up until now.
congratulations.
It has been rainbows and sunshines for 2 weeks.
Were our two principals, were you going to? No, okay. That said, we're moving on to, I would like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. These are the minutes of the November 24th, 2025 regular meeting, payroll month end for November 2025. And I didn't get that number, but that's fine. Accounts payable month end reports for October 2025. 80K teacher grant in the amount of $1,311.20 for differential reading units. 80K teacher grant in the amount of $749 for American flag football pack. The hiring of Lori Anderson, Katrina Surdich, Devin Foley, Laura Dragoni, and Brittany Grindy Larson as part-time school readiness, ECFE, VBK, classroom assistants.
I'll make the motion with a spelling correction to Laura Dragoni's last name. There's not an E. It's Dragon with a Y.
Motion by
I'll second.
Director Randa Sauter,
Support.
support by Director Lappy. Any discussion? Just like to thank Sean Lewis and teachers Sean Lewis and Lynette Purdy for putting in for those grants and 80K for granting them. That said, hearing no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7, personnel. Motion to accept the resignation of Dan Holman from long-term custodian substitute as of December 1, 2025.
I'll motion.
Motion by Director Raha,
I'll support.
support by Director Crowdy Simon. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8, administrative business. Motion to accept the Papa Murphy's donation of 2,417 free pizza certificates for the PBIS incentives. This is resolution 25-12-08. Can I entertain a motion?
I'll support, but I'm questioning the donation amount says 247.
It is 247, there's a typo.
247.
There's a typo, yeah.
I'll make a motion.
I like the 2,400 better.
So I'll make the motion with that. I'll second the motion with the correction.
Okay. Supported by Director Randa Sauter. Pam, roll call.
I'm sorry, who seconded? Brent?
Me.
Yep.
Okay, who made the motion?
I did.
Okay. All right, Director Karati Simon,
Yes.
Director Lappy,
Yes, sorry. It's like, what?
Director Raha,
Yes.
Director Randa Sauter,
Yes.
Director Rice,
Yes.
and Chair Casey.
Yes. Motion carries. Let's see. Next up, we have the second reading of some policies. This is policy 214, out-of-state travel by school board members. Policy 301, school district administration. Policy 302, superintendent. Policy 303, superintendent selection. Policy 305, policy implementation. and policy 306, administrator code of ethics. Are there any changes the board would like to make before the final reading comes up at the next meeting?
Note that there are a few red lines in the particular policy 214 out-of-state travel. Just being consistent with what the rest of the staff does.
Thank you, that was my question. Okay, moving on to item 9, under discussion. Any directors have anything for discussion? I do have one, the Hoops Club would like a joint meeting with the board and their board. Kind of a meet and greet, discuss some issues that they have. I don't know if the directors want to do that, or if they'd like to meet, or.
We could
Not
meet, or we could do a committee.
I feel like a committee would be better, because otherwise we have to have a
Yeah.
full meeting.
Right. If they're okay with that.
You do have a Minnesota State High School League
I was
committee.
gonna say, don't we have,
Yeah, you
yeah,
have
I could
a
probably
committee.
just, some people would do that.
That would be Director Raha and myself. Okay. I'll set something up and then I'll let
That you
you
think
know.
it needs, that you think we need to do it, yeah.
Well, I know they wanted to meet everybody. They do have a couple of issues that are,
Could we just invite them to a school board meeting?
Yeah,
And they can talk.
Or the other thing is, I would like them to talk to the AD or the principal before it comes to the
Right.
board level if they do have a concern.
I
just think that would be.
I think we should have a committee with those people prior to the whole board and public.
Yeah, I think that would
Do
be.
you know what they want to meet about?
past pay for some coaches. I guess I'll bring it out in the open. Apparently at some point last year, the year before, the Hoops Club stated that they will pay half of the salary for secondary basketball coaches. And the school was to pay the other half. They had been notified that that issue had never come to the board. Talking with past superintendent, he's not aware of that issue. It may have come from somewhere else, so they'd like to clear the air on that. They have reached out to our auditor to talk to them about that and the back pay issue. So that's what they want to talk about, and just so things like this don't happen in the future. So, but if the board is directing myself and Director Raha and possibly the AD to meet with them, we'll do that first.
Well, then it can come with recommendations. I mean, if that's what,
Yeah.
there was some issue where that needs to be addressed, we can then take board action on it.
Yeah. Just wanted to know.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm gonna play devil's advocate because we've had this meeting. We've had a meeting with the Hoops Club. We told them and explained to them what board action was. Board action was that these individuals were hired as volunteers. Whether or not something was stated someplace else, when there's no paperwork to back it up.
Yeah, that's true.
And so it is a tiny bit frustrating that we've had this meeting. So what are they hoping to get that we haven't already answered?
Oh, you're asking the same questions that I've asked them, and I'm just bringing it to the board because this is what they would like to do.
So it's gone through the proper channels already, the principal, the
The
AD,
Hoops Club does do quite a bit for both
They
basketball
are
programs,
amazing.
as does the swim club. for both swim teams, boys and girls.
But I do think that that's always been probably an issue, is that we don't, our board, I mean, even at the school board conferences, we went to conference, or things about the different hoop clubs and the different clubs and, you know, them paying or them, what about insurance? What about, there's so many different things. And we as a board don't get involved in their whole thing. We're not a part of it. That's pretty much what the Minnesota School Board says. They're kind of like, it
Well,
has to
and
be
part of the
separate.
issue is that a 501(c)(3) that they are,
Right.
they legally cannot pay people. And so that's why they've used the district as a fiscal host, which makes perfect sense to do. It's just when they went through board action, it was all through as voluntary, and voluntary by the nature of the word means no compensation. So it was incorrect paperwork, however that occurred, but and I get it, I hear what you're saying too, like the Hoops Club is absolutely amazing for what they do. They're a phenomenal group and we'd be lost without them.
But would we honestly be paying for half of a, I don't know that we would do that, right? I mean, I don't get
Do we for
that.
other club? I think is it that we do for some sports but not others, or no? Not at all.
I'm not sure what the football club does. If your parent group pays for your volunteers or quote unquote volunteers,
500,
okay,
it's under the 600 W9, what is that, W9?
okay.
1099?
But they haven't,
Put in a lot more time than that, but you keep it.
the football club has not come to the school board, at least in my tenure here, at any time to ask for payments.
Mhm.
So I'll set it up and I'll advise Mr. Raha and Mr. Baki and
I guess when we approve things as a board, we aren't for coaches, we're not necessarily seeing salaries on our agendas, are we? Or what we're.
It should say what level.
Level.
And then the levels in the
There's
contract.
Okay, so I was looking, just curious.
Then there's ones that come around as volunteers.
okay. Any other discussion?
I had that one thing.
Oh.
We'll need to schedule a second board meeting in December to go over the audit report. And just wanted to see, is December 29th a date that works for people? And if so, is there a time that we can look at schedule?
That's a normal Monday. That's the month, that'd be like if you were
And as
working, it'd be
as
like.
Mr. Kazar has stated in the past, I think last year we met at 8.
Yes,
early.
Yeah. so we're flexible on time, you know.
Yeah.
Gotta make sure that-
Well, that's, yeah, 8, right away at 8:00. That's a Monday. I think last year was probably coming on Thursday.
Monday, 29th, okay.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll be
December
back.
29th.
I'll be back.
If we can do early,
I-
otherwise I've got, my girls have skating.
Early works best for me because I have court.
8:00 would be the best because they've got skating at 10. How long does it take?
I'd say between a half hour and
Okay,
an hour, yeah.
yeah, I just have to have them.
Well, the strolls come in.
Yep.
Okay, so the 29th at 8 AM.
29th, so I would need to entertain a motion for a special meeting just for the audit report.
All motion.
I'll support.
Motion by Director Raha, support by Director Randy Sauter. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And that is our only other meeting of the month, correct? As a board,
As a board.
as a board.
Yeah.
Okay. Just, yeah, I got a phone call from one of the Ingenza reps, not Jordan, and they are asking me if I would write a review of Ingenza. I think it's to be used in possibly some of their brochures. I said, well, I'm not gonna do it until I get board approval. So I'm not asking for formal approval, just maybe a little.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm
agree.
supportive of that.
For sure.
Yeah,
People go on their website, have it go over, update their projects and stuff.
good idea.
And I actually told them to write it, and I'll just say,
I was gonna say, just don't be mean.
Just because we have one bad meeting.
Yeah, just we're mad at them for 1 minute.
No, they've been great, obviously.
okay.
Information Like the City is on Thursday.
Oh, yeah, Live in the City.
At 5 o'clock.
I got one other little piece of information. The other day, Chair Casey and I, Superintendent and Noah, met with a multitude of items that we were discussing, you know, sub-pay for paras and for teachers and stuff like that. They're running out of people, the staff. The other thing was, you know, per diem rates for lunch, supper and things like that, that anybody, you know, who goes on trips gets X amount of dollars. And the dollar amount that I was seeing was pathetic. You can't buy lunch for $15, there's no way. So we're working on something like that. We reviewed our fund balances, and everything else seemed to be in order. Credit card usage by staff, went through a few procedures as to how to use that credit card. And the bottom line is, if you use the credit card, come back with a receipt. It helps know us to pay the bills. And if you don't come back with a receipt, well, then you're responsible for whatever the balance is. So just saying, you know, be responsible when you use the school credit card. And that's pretty much about it. It was a good meeting. We discussed construction. Everything seems to be in order. Jordan's report tonight is somewhat assuring, I would say. So anyhow, I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention that we were doing that last week.
Any other board members? We have our Truth and Taxation meeting in 6 minutes.
I have one additional thing that I should have shared in my report.
We need to
and-
make a motion.
Yep. I forgot, sorry. January 21st, the Hibbing School Board is proposing to host our joint meeting on that day from 8 until noon and then noon to 1, just kind of a networking lunch. Not, yep.
To noon.
8 to noon, probably closer 9 to noon, but kind of blocking 8 to noon right now. With a working lunch, not a working lunch, a networking lunch from 12 to 1. We don't need a formal motion on that. This is just really kind of a discussion. Is that a date that just absolutely will not work? Does that seem like a date that could work?
Yeah.
It works.
Works for me. And we're redoing committees or full board?
They would like to meet as a full board. Right now, the proposal that Rick and I have talked about is having Gary Lee from MSBA talk about the different ways that different school districts work together, from anything from collaboration to sports cooperatives to joint powers to, I mean, the dreaded C consolidation word, and all of the different, what are the different words actually mean? What does this allow a district to do or not allow a district to do? What does this do as far as maybe existing debts that are in each area? Kind of some information at the beginning, and then kind of having some conversations about, you know, if you were to make that decision, what types of things would you like to see us collaborate on? Because everybody seems to have their own kind of ideas, and just giving everybody that open air opportunity. No decisions to be made that day, it's just a working discussion, just kind of getting it all out there, with absolutely no voting decisions of any capacity.
Okay.
That day works for me.
Anything else? This time I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the regular meeting of the Chisholm School Board, Independent School District 695.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Director Randa Sauter, supported by Director Raha. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Time is 5:15. And we'll give ourselves about 5 minutes.
Be right back.
Doesn't this meeting have to start at 6?
No, it can start anytime after 6.
Okay, that's what it was. I'm getting nervous looking at the box.
Thank you, principals, for coming.
Oh, sorry, not
Did they
getting
come
all
up with
over the
anything
place.
good? Did they come up with another one?